I've had the pleasure of interviewing Blaze Bayley and Ripper Owens on a number of occasions, and obviously Blaze famously replaced Bruce Dickinson in Iron Maiden. Ripper, replaced Rob Halford for a period in Judas Priest. And they gave me their kind of challenges. When you're joining an established band, you know what I mean? But what's it been like in your case, man? What have been some of the challenges of replacing Josey and kind of making everything your own? I don't
want to throw him under the bus, but he's no Bruce Dickinson and he's no Rob Halford. So there's that. Let's go ahead and just get that out of the way. Now he thinks he is, but he's not. So those dudes are extremely hard to replace. Like it's very, very, very hard. And I like Ripper. I like that record that they did, man. I remember it was like Jugulator or something.
Yeah, that was the first one. Yeah,
was an awesome record, And I don't know if I think people do give Ripper credit for a lot of that stuff, Now, when you talk about replacing Bruce Dickinson, I don't even know who it is or have no idea what you're talking about. Like, because I don't know, but the Ripper stuff I do remember and was more familiar with. But I think no matter what, any band you replace, so it's Van Halen. I mean, so Van Halen, David Lee Roth, they get Sammy Hagar. People hated it, even though it was good. And then it was like, you still had MTV, you still had things that were like, the label was like, look, just write great fucking songs and we're not going to lose. And that's what they did. They wrote great fucking songs, man. So that's why it worked. Then it's like, okay, cool. All right, this isn't working out. Now we're going to go get Gary Sharon. Now fans are like, wait a second, dude. Hold up. Now you're throwing us for a loop. And it doesn't work the same, So I think sometimes it works or it doesn't. I mean, there's been singers to come into bands and it just doesn't. And I think that you would know like right away if it's a good fit or not. But I think when I came into the band, I never tried to be him. I never wanted to be him. Some people would say that they thought there were similarities in the voice or whatever. But I mean, people think that I have similarities to like Chester's voice and other people singing. And I don't see it. I mean, I can maybe hear some similarities, but I hear the difference, when I like track something or whatever, I can definitely hear the difference. But maybe subconsciously when people are hearing the music of some of those bands, you kind of get familiar with a vocal or a sound or something. But I think when I came in, I just wanted to be myself and just do what I could do. I like writing songs. I like working in the studio. I like being on stage, and I'm diehard musician at heart. And, that was the approach, I think, and it doesn't always work when you take an approach of, I've got to be this, or I've got to be like this so people will like me. People are going to like you or hate you either way, so it's like Coke, Pepsi, so you gotta, I would think that me coming into the band, that was all it was. Just let's keep it alive and have some fun.
What was the fan reaction like when you first joined, and kind of how has it sort of evolved over the years since you started with the band?
It was super mixed at first, and I get it, I can't blame them. I mean, most of the negative stuff I felt like never really came from people who had seen the band. I think it just came from that approach of, oh, it's not the same, or it never will be the same. But they're right, it never will be the same. And I think that fans get so invested into the catalog and these bands and these songs that they forget it's a business. It is a business at the end of the day. These bands' livelihoods and things, and the show must go on. And it's no disrespect to what Saliva was before at all. I've never disrespected that one bit. But when you come into something and you kind of, when the other person quits and basically abandons and leaves everyone high and dry, and they just disappear for like a decade and stuff. And then you start hearing all these crazy stories about like how it was in the band, and you're just like, I was, dude, there was part of me that was at first was like, do I even want to do this? Like, this is like scary, like kind of stuff that you would hear, you know, and people would come up to me at shows and tell me stories, and I'd be like, uh, like make you want to run kind of stuff, you know. But I stuck through it, man. I was like, you know, that's not me. I'm not that, and just gonna kind of do, you know, almost like a black cloud over the Saliva name or something, you know. It's but you fight through it, man. Overcome and just get through it. And you know, I don't want to talk crap about anybody or the past or whatever, but those were challenges for me because I was coming into something that I was not aware of, and I had no idea all of these kinds of things. But you know, so on top of people nitpicking what you're doing or you know how you should be, and I just stuck to my guns, man, and just said I'm just gonna do things the way I want to do them. And that Love Lies in Therapy record that we did, I pretty much did like the whole record, you know. And the band wanted me to do that because it, you know, Wayne was like, dude, let's make this like your record, and let's just have, you know, we need to. And I think that was kind of the turning point of starting to get, you know, more and more fans knowing this version of Saliva and stuff. And you know, now it's just go, you know, go do what we do and go on stage and give people a killer show. And you know, I'd go to merch booth every night, and you know, a lot of these shows, and there's a line really, really long, and I'll stand there for 3 hours sometimes, man, shaking everyone's hands and doing that. And that's super important because I feel like if those people don't like you, they're not standing in line, you know. And it's important to be able to tell them thank you and for everything, whether they were a fan from the get-go, from, you know, 20 years ago to, or they started listening to the band when I got in, or, you know, whatever that may be. And there's a lot of that, man. There's a ton of people that are like, I was never a Saliva fan before. Like I didn't, you know, I've had a lot of people say that about this latest record. Like they hear High on Me on the radio and they're like, that's not Saliva. There's no way. And then they become a fan through that. And that's just showing you music evolves and can evolve. And you don't have to just put out the same thing over and over again. If it's a good song, it's a great fucking song, people will react and they'll connect. So